My in-laws came over unannounced while I was recovering from surgery. My mother-in-law looked around and said, "This place is filthy. No wonder he looks miserable." I couldn't even stand without help. My husband said, "Just let it go. She's old school." So I hired a cleaner, sent them the bill, and when they refused to pay, I posted the before photos online with her comments word for word. I had surgery on a Thursday. Laparoscopic, but painful. They had to go in through my abdomen and remove some tissue, and even though they said it was minimally invasive, I felt like I'd been hit by a damn truck. I was bleeding, bloated, and couldn't move right. The staples tugged every time I tried to sit up. I couldn't even pee without help the first 2 days. I was out of it. I'm 36 years old. Not old, not young, just in that in-between stage where you know your body well enough to know when it's messed up. My husband Rick is 38. We've been married 6 years, and for the most part, things had been okay. Not amazing, not terrible. He's never been great with conflict, and he's always been weirdly loyal to his mom, but I figured that was just one of those quirks. Everybody has something. But what happened during my recovery made me look at him differently. It made me see everything differently. We live in Kettering, just outside Dayton, Ohio. It's not fancy, but our house is cozy. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, decent-sized backyard. We both work full-time. I'm a dispatcher for a logistics company. Rick works in HVAC. Nothing glamorous, but we do all right. We'd saved up for my surgery, planned every detail, and I was proud of how I got the house in order before going under the knife. I made freezer meals. I did all the laundry. I changed the sheets. I vacuumed. I even bought paper plates, so Rick wouldn't have to do many dishes. I thought I had done everything I could. What I didn't count on was my in-laws. It was my second full day home. I was lying on the couch in the living room, half asleep, drugged out of my mind on pain meds. I had a blanket over me, my heating pad on, and a puke bucket next to the couch just in case. My hair hadn't been washed in days. I was wearing an old t-shirt and adult diapers because getting to the bathroom was still tricky. I heard knocking. I assumed it was a delivery or maybe one of the neighbors dropping something off. I yelled out, "Come in," like a fool. The door opened, and in walked Barbara and Hal, my husband's parents. Barbara looked around like she had just walked into a gas station bathroom. Her nose wrinkled. Her eyes narrowed. "Oh my God, Hal," she said. "Look at this place." Hal, as usual, said nothing. He's more of a shadow than a person. Just stands behind her and nods. Barbara didn't even acknowledge me at first. She walked past the couch, stepped over a small pile of laundry I'd asked Rick to put in the washer, and made a noise like she'd smelled sour milk. "This place is filthy. No wonder he looks miserable." I blinked at her, trying to sit up, but the pain shot through my side like a knife. I couldn't even speak. My mouth was dry. I was sweating. My guts were on fire. Miserable. I finally choked out, "What are you talking about?" Barbara turned to look at me like I'd just spoken out of turn in church. She gave a little tight smile, walked over, and pulled the blanket up over my legs without asking. "Sweetie, you should have had someone come clean before the surgery. This isn't good for Rick. He needs a clean space to relax in." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something. I had worked my ass off preparing for this. I had done everything I could. I was literally recovering from having my stomach sliced open, and she was walking in here, judging me? She walked into the kitchen, opened a few drawers. Then the fridge. "Oh my God, Hal. There's nothing fresh in here. This is just sad." Hal grunted. That was the only sound he made. I tried to reach for my phone, but it had slid behind the pillow. I just laid there, helpless, while Barbara toured my home like a damn real estate agent judging a foreclosure. She stayed maybe 20 minutes. Didn't offer to help with anything. Didn't ask if I needed water. Didn't even bring food. When Rick got home, I told him everything. And do you know what he said? "Just let it go. She's old school." He chuckled. She doesn't mean anything by it. I stared at him. I had been holding in tears for days. I had smiled through the pain, stayed quiet when I felt like screaming, and now his mother storms in here and calls our house filthy, and his only response is that she's old school? That was the moment I knew. I wasn't letting this go. The next day, I called a local cleaning service. They were expensive, but I didn't care. I told them the truth. I had just had surgery, couldn't clean, and some guests had shown up uninvited and shamed me. The woman on the phone was kind. She didn't say much, but I could tell she got it. 2 cleaners showed up the next morning. They were amazing. They mopped, vacuumed, scrubbed the bathroom, did the dishes, even folded the damn towels. I cried watching them. I felt so embarrassed, but also relieved. It cost $275. Not a crazy amount, but not cheap. I sent the bill to Barbara and Hal. No explanation. Just a simple note. For the cleaning services you clearly expected upon your visit. No reply. 3 days later, I followed up. Barbara texted back. We didn't ask for any services. That's your responsibility. We will not be paying for something we didn't agree to. That was it. No apology. No acknowledgement. So I decided to post the photos. Before and after shots. The unfolded laundry. The dishes in the sink. The bathroom counter with my meds and heating pads on it. And under each one, I posted a quote from Barbara. Word for word. This place is filthy. No wonder he looks miserable. He needs a clean space to relax in. I posted them on Facebook. Not in a rage, just with context. The caption said, 2 days post-op. Couldn't stand without help. This was the filthy state my mother-in-law commented on. I've included her words here, so they aren't misquoted. I then hired a cleaner and sent her the bill. This was the response I got. It didn't go viral, but it got traction. My coworkers saw it. So did a few of Barbara's church friends. She called Rick crying the next day, saying I had embarrassed the family. Rick told me I was being cruel. I told him that letting someone come into our home, insult me while I was sick, and then refusing to take responsibility, that was cruel. He slept on the couch that night. Rick didn't talk to me much the next few days. He moved around like a ghost, grabbing his toolbox, coming home late, sitting at the kitchen table staring at his phone. I didn't care. I was done playing nice. By the time I was strong enough to shower on my own, the Facebook post had over 200 comments, most of them supportive. A few of them vague and judgmental, the kind that come from older women who still think airing dirty laundry is worse than being humiliated. But the most surprising thing was a private message I got from Rick's cousin, Marcy. She wrote, "Just saw your post. I'm not surprised. Aunt Barb did the same to my mom after her surgery. Called her lazy and made fun of her weight. You're not alone. She's cruel." That one message lit a fire in me. I wasn't just being sensitive. I wasn't imagining things. Barbara had a pattern. I asked around. Quietly. Talked to Rick's sister, Leah, too. She lives in Toledo and keeps her distance. She said, Mom made me cry at my baby shower. Told me my house was depressing, and my husband looked like he was trapped. I stopped inviting her over after that. So it wasn't just me. This wasn't a one-time slip-up. A week later, Rick sat down next to me, looking all serious. He said, Mom's been getting calls from her church friends. She says she can't go back there until you take that post down. I looked at him dead in the face and asked, And what do you think? He shrugged. Maybe just delete it. It's not worth the drama. You proved your point. I said, she humiliated me while I was recovering from surgery. She made me feel worthless in my own home. And you're more worried about her reputation at church? Rick didn't answer. He just picked at the label on his beer bottle and wouldn't look me in the eye. I told him, if you want me to take it down, she has to apologize. And she has to pay the damn cleaning bill. He got up and walked out.
Didn't come home that night.
The next day, Barbara created a new group chat called Family Matters. She added Rick, me, Leah, Hal, and a few cousins. Her first message, this drama needs to stop. What was posted online was misleading and unfair. I never meant to hurt anyone, but this attack on me has gone too far. I responded, Your words were quoted. Your actions were witnessed. If you feel attacked, maybe it's because the truth is uncomfortable. She replied, It's not Christian to shame your elders publicly. Leah chimed in, It's not Christian to walk into someone's home while they're recovering from surgery and tear them down. Then Rick left the group chat. Just exited, like a coward. Barbara messaged me privately. I hope you're happy.
You've turned my own son against me.
I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed, No. You did that all by yourself. The next few weeks were cold and quiet. Rick came home late, slept on the couch because his back hurt, kept his phone locked. Then one Friday, I woke up at 2 a.m. to pee and found the couch empty. His car was gone. When he came back the next morning, I asked where he was. He said, Needed space. Slept at Dave's. I said, Then show me the text from Dave. He glared at me. That's when I realized something else was going on. And I wasn't done with Barbara yet. I had something else planned. Because I'd learned something in that family group chat, something Barbara didn't mean to let slip. She said, I never meant to hurt anyone, but a few days earlier, she told Rick I was faking how bad the surgery was. That maybe I was exaggerating to get attention. That was the match. And I was about to light it. After Rick's night at Dave's, I started watching him more closely. I had a gut feeling one I didn't want to admit out loud. I checked the shared phone bill. Not because I wanted to spy, but because something felt off. Numbers I didn't recognize. Texts and calls at weird hours. Same area code. Local. So, I called one of the numbers. A woman answered. She sounded surprised, maybe mid-30s, same age as me. Hello. I froze for a second, then said, Hi, this is Rick's wife. Who am I speaking with? Long pause. Then the line went dead. I didn't even have to call back. That told me enough. Rick wasn't just defending his mom. He was lying to me about everything. The next morning, I sat Rick down. I know, I said. Don't lie to me. He stared at the table. Didn't speak for a good 30 seconds. Then he muttered. It didn't mean anything. I just needed to talk to someone. While your wife was recovering from surgery? He said nothing. I stood up. You can go now. And I'll be sending the rest of the cleaning bill to your mom, with the lawyer's note attached. His eyes widened. You're involving lawyers now? I nodded.
Yep.
Since your family wants to play games, I'm playing back, with rules. Leah, Rick's sister, messaged me again a few days later. You should look into Mom's Facebook history, she said. I didn't understand what she meant until she sent screenshots. Turns out, Barbara had been leaving nasty comments on local community pages for years, shaming single moms, mocking neighbors with messy lawns, calling people unfit for all kinds of petty reasons. It was all public, all under her real name. So, I started collecting them. I made a folder. 37 screenshots. Some of them were from posts about disabled veterans. Others were about people asking for help after surgery, just like I had gone through. One comment said, If you can post online, you can mop your floor. She posted that under a story about a woman recovering from a C-section. I knew what I had to do next. I didn't go back to Facebook this time. I went bigger. I submitted a story, anonymously, to a local Facebook community group Barbara was active in. It was titled, My Emile called me filthy while I was recovering from surgery, then refused to pay for the cleaner after showing up uninvited. It went viral in the group. People guessed who it was.
Fast.
Because I included one of her exact quotes and linked one of her public comments from her own account. The group turned on her hard. One woman commented, I remember her judging my daughter's GoFundMe. This is the same woman. Someone else replied. She tried to get our neighborhood association to fine a guy with a disability because he didn't mow his lawn. She's a menace. Barbara left the group the next day. Deleted her account 2 days later. Rick came by that weekend to talk. He looked like hell. Thin, pale, shaking. Said he was staying with a friend from work. Then he dropped the real bomb. My mom's threatening to sue you for defamation. I laughed. Let her. Truth isn't defamation. And I have screenshots. You want to see them?
He didn't.
Instead, he looked at me with his pathetic face and said, "Can we fix this?" I looked him dead in the eye. "You didn't try to fix anything when I needed you most. So no, Rick. We can't." While digging through old emails and texts, I found something strange. A forwarded message, buried in my inbox. From over a year ago. It was from Rick. He had copied me on an email to his mom back when we were planning a joint birthday party for his niece. I must have skimmed past it at the time. But now, reading it again, something stood out. He had written, "Don't worry, I told her we couldn't lend the money this time. Just say it came from me." Wait, lend money? I searched through more messages. Turns out Barbara had asked Rick to borrow $3,000 last year for roof repairs. Rick didn't have it. I did. I had just received a small work bonus. Rick told me he wanted to put it toward the emergency fund. I agreed. But what really happened? He gave that money to Barbara. Without telling me, she used it not for her roof, but for a girls' retreat with her church group in Kentucky. That retreat, by the way, had spa days, wine tastings, and yoga classes. I found it on her Facebook back when her account was still active. She had posted photos. One of them had a glass of wine and the caption, "Much needed time away. I don't owe anyone anything this weekend." That photo was posted 2 days after Rick transferred the money to her. I confronted Rick. "You gave her our emergency money last year. Lied about it. And she spent it on a damn wine retreat."
He didn't deny it.
She said she really needed it. "I didn't want to upset you." "You didn't want to upset me? You watched me eat frozen casseroles for 3 weeks, so we wouldn't dip into savings." While she was drinking rose and doing goat yoga, he looked ashamed. But it was too late for shame. I had everything I needed. I printed the receipts, pulled a bank statement showing the transfer, matched it to the date on her Facebook post. I compiled everything into a PDF and titled it, "What a Good Son Does." Then I sent it anonymously from a burner email to the women's board of her church. I didn't add any commentary.
Just facts.
Let the timeline speak for itself. A week later, Barbara was removed from her position on the Women's Event Planning Committee. She also lost her spot leading prayer group. Leah told me her phone had been blowing up. People are saying she's two-faced. Hypocrite. Selfish.
I didn't respond.
Rick came by again a few days later. He looked more broken than ever. "I've moved in with Hal," he said. I nodded. "I messed everything up," he added. I didn't answer. Then he asked something I wasn't expecting. "Did you send that stuff to the church?" I paused, then said, "I don't lie to people who respect me." He didn't press. Instead, he asked something worse. "Can I come back?" I stared at him. "You weren't just her son, Rick. You were her accomplice. You lied to me for her. You let her humiliate me, then punish me for standing up for myself. So no, you can't." He didn't fight it. He just walked out. Quiet this time.
No begues, no excuses, no goodbye.
Because Barbara had one last card to play.
She was planning something.
And I could feel it coming. It came quietly at first. A letter in the mailbox. Not handwritten, printed and typed, neat and formal. It was from Barbara. 2 pages long. She didn't apologize. Not once. She explained. She wrote things like, "I was raised to believe the home reflects the woman. Rick was always too soft, and I had to protect him. You embarrass me online, and that can never be undone." Then came the final line. "You may have turned my son against me, but I still know what you did." I didn't understand it at first, but I was about to find out. I used to help out with the local food drive at our community center every month. People I'd known for years, some of them stopped speaking to me. Others gave short nods and turned away. One woman pulled me aside and said, "I don't know what happened between you and Barbara, but maybe next time, handle it privately." Privately? She humiliated me while I couldn't stand without help. And I handled it with facts.
But none of that mattered now.
Barbara was telling her version of the story. That I had smeared her. That I had used social media as a weapon. That I ruined Rick's life out of pride. She wasn't done with me. She was poisoning the well. Here's where I'll admit something. I didn't stop with the post and the PDF. I also mailed a copy to her church anonymously. And maybe I didn't need to do that. Maybe I had already won. But I was angry. I wanted her to feel humiliated the way I had. I didn't just want an apology. I wanted her to suffer. And I got what I wanted. But the blowback hit me too. People started whispering. My job heard about the post. Someone made a complaint to HR. Said I was cyberbullying a senior citizen. It didn't go anywhere legally, but the damage was there. My boss pulled me aside. I'm not judging your personal life, she said, but keep it off the internet. Rick messaged me out of nowhere one night. Said he'd been laid off. Not fired, just part of company changes. But I knew the truth. He was distracted, missing appointments, losing focus. His whole life was unraveling. He asked if we could meet up.
Just talk.
I agreed. We met at a diner halfway between our old house and his dad's place. He looked like a man who hadn't slept in weeks. He said, I was a coward. I know that now. I nodded. Let him speak.
She used me, he said. Mom.
She always did. And I let her. Then he looked me in the eye. And you didn't let anyone use you.
Not me.
Not her. It sounded like a compliment. But it wasn't. Because what he was really saying was, you fought back. Harder than I ever could. And now you're just as cold as she is. I mailed her one more letter. No return address.
No signature.
Just a photo. A copy of the hospital discharge paper with the words, 2 days post-op, uninvited. Unforgivable. And a sticky note that read, you made your bed. I never heard from her again.
Rick and I divorced. Quietly.
No court fights.
No screaming.
Just paperwork and silence. He didn't fight me on anything. Didn't ask for the house. Didn't even want the furniture. I kept it all. Not out of spite, but because I had built that life. I had cleaned it, fought for it, protected it. Barbara, from what I hear, still goes to a new church.
Smaller.
Out in Troy. Doesn't post anymore. Doesn't speak to Leah. Barely sees Rick. I don't know if she learned anything. But I do know this. The next time someone thinks they can walk into a woman's home while she's bleeding and broken and call her filthy, they'll think twice. Because I made an example out of her. And I'll never apologize for that.